Have you ever felt regret before?
Everyone experience regret, like things shouldn't go this way, or it's not all according to plan, or mission failed, or clicking that link that leads to the rickrolled video.
Yes, naramdaman ko din ang pagsisisi, nagsisisi ako na hindi ako bumili ng Bitcoin noon mura pa ito.
I did felt regret for not telling her how I feel.
Tama na ang drama, move on na tayo, shall we?
Okay, but what if you're in a situation where you're gonna die in a minute, will you regret anything?
Definitely, I feel my life is not complete, I have not attained my dreams yet.
Ako din, plano ko pa maging isang milyonaryo.
Okay, but what if you were dying as a bad guy?
Isusumpa ko lahat ng kalaban ko hanggang sa kamatayan.
I will reminiscing the past, of what I have done, of how my life turned to be like this. If only I did good and didn't do the mistakes I made back then. I would end up a good guy than a low life like this.
Yes, and that what's the situation our protagonist is in. After getting stabbed at the back literally by his subordinates, he is walking alone the streets on a rainy night, bleeding, and after a few more steps he fell and took a sit. He recalls everything, the dirty stuff he did, bullying other people, dropping out from school to join a gang, the people he harmed and some were actually killed, and he eventually became the boss of the gang in the city. Yet he remorsed all of it but accepted it all as his own sin, he just want to ask for forgiveness, but to whom?
He was expecting to be in hell, but he was dumbfounded by where he is. Then a voice called upon his name and asked, have you ever regretted your past life? The protagonist named Elmer asks who's the one asking. But the voice demands an answer and repeat the question, did you ever regret your past life? This angers Elmer and told him that he'll answer only if he come out. Look over here, the voice called upon Elmer while he's complaining, saying that this is absurd. Then he was shocked of what he found out, the voice that asking him was coming from an angel.
The angel comments on how Elmar's soul reaches the highest peak of corruption. This comment made Elmar speechless. A loathsome soul who made all the evil deeds he can possibly do. It is rightful for him to descend in hell and burn there eternally. This declaration frightens Elmar, but after the angel witnessed his repentance despite being an evil person, he became fascinated by him. Elmar can't believe what he have heard. Him repenting is not part of his character, and yet he remember, before he let go of his last breath he asked for forgiveness. This embarrassed Elmar and asked the angel to make it quick. However, the angel have something in mind. If you were given another chance, what would you do? This question made Elmar confused and ask what kind of nonsense is this? But the angel demands to answer him quickly. Then Elmar said to himself, things would be different, I wouldn't hurt anyone and I would live like a normal human being. After hearing that, the angel became curious as how honest he is in his repentance. Then he said to himself, I marvel, does human really evil beings just like what the devil said? This even made Elmar more confused. However, the angel notify Elmar that even if the outcome is different in the second chance, his soul will end up in the same destination. Elmar, not getting any idea of what the angel is talking about, continues to ask him what is this all about. Then suddenly a blindingly light struck Elmar. Elmar complained for not warning him if he'll do anything.
Wow, so he was returned in the past. This must be the second chance the angel mentioned.
Yes, after returning in the past, Elmar was oblivious of what is happening. He checked his surrounding and checked himself in the mirror, and then the telephone rings. He answered the call and asked who is it. The one who called got upset and asked him if he's going to stop going to school. This made Elmar dumbfounded. Then Elmar asked again the identity of the caller. This made the caller mad and mock Elmar for forgetting his Dean's voice. Dean by any means Mr. Campoy. The caller replied, who do you expect, your father? Then he demands Elmar to report to school immediately.
After taking all the hints, his youthful looks, the school dean, and the date of the calendar, Elmer finally concluded that the second chance the angel gave him was to return him 23 years in the past before he dropped out of school. After realizing it all, Elmer started bawling and thanks the angel many times. But a reminder from the angel came to Elmer's mind, is that his soul won't be saved even if the new life ends differently. It took a while for Elmer to finally grasp what the angel meant, but during that time Elmer prepared himself to go to the school. He inspects himself and compliments, who's this good-looking dude? After he's done, he set aside the reminder from the angel and ready to start his new life. "All right, it's time to go," he blurted out.
Elmar focus on to correct the wrong things he has done in the past and to begin it. He must attend school and to act properly. Nostalgia hit him when he was walking the street he used to walk in the past. When suddenly someone called out to him. This made Elmar curious. Who is it? It was Albert, the town's gangster. Albert asked Elmar why is he going to school when it's almost noon break. Elmar recalled that he used to hang out with him back in the old days. They usually pick on kids to get some money or hang out in the arcade or play pool. Then Elmar says hi to them like they're close. This bewildered Albert and his friend. Showing no signs of respect to his elders, this pisses Albert. This confuses Elmar. Then he remembered that he is still 18. Then Albert started dissing Elmar. Elmar reasons that it's been a while that he forgot that he spoke impolitely and asked for a sorry. This even pisses Albert even more. Then Albert informed Elmar that he was planning to introduce him to the bros because of how commendable he was, but he just dared. Then Elmar remembered that Albert has connections with those gangs and all. Then Elmar realized back then, it was Albert who introduced him into the organization, it was him who started his gangster way of life. This angers Elmar.
Elmar started to clench his fist while Albert continues to belittle him. Then Albert rebuked Elmar just because he's nice to him doesn't mean that he can underestimate him. Then Albert plans to teach him a lesson later. Elmar snaps and told Albert to shut it. This astonished Albert. Then suddenly Elmar grabbed Albert's face and tells him to shut up, and then Elmar dissed on him. Albert mumbled, "Why is he this strong?" Albert's friend told Elmar to let him go and then throws a straight. Elmar saw this coming and let go Albert's face to block his fist. Elmar asked the guy, "Did you just hit me?" Elmar follows it with a left uppercut, knocking him out, and told him to stay out of this. While Albert is coughing trying to catch his breath, he cursed Elmar again but got kicked in return and fell on his back. Then Elmar stepped on him and dared him to say it again. Elmar then had a thought, if only not with this guy who persuaded me to go there, my life wouldn't headed that way. Elmar asked himself, did my life got ruined because of this loser? Albert cries, "What's wrong with you today? Have you gone crazy?" Then Elmar clenched his fist harder and ready to punch him. Then a voice came to his mind. It was the angel reminding him, if you were given a second chance, what will you do?
After remembering what the angel told him, Elmar calms down. He calls to Albert and told him to listen carefully. Next time if they'll meet again and annoyed him, he will definitely beat him to death. Elmar suggests him not to appear in front of him again otherwise. Albert weep and got thinking just what happened to Elmar. Has he gone crazy? Later Elmar praised his self-control. After all he'd been through to get this chance. He can't just let some loser ruin it. And since he doesn't have connections to the gangs, he decided to just enjoy his school life. Or so it seems.
Walang forever.
I believe he said, nothing is more certain than death and taxes.
No, the teacher suggests that Elmar should drop out. Elmar got flabbergasted, but the dean gave him reasons why. He got 36 unexplained absences, 9 cases of violence in the campus, 6 cases of stealing from others, 14 cases of smoking and 29 more violations. The dean's patience has run low and it's best for the school to get rid of him. Elmar can't help but facepalm. The dean also points out his attitude, and suggests him to drop out. Something came to Elmar's mind, maybe he should beat this guy up. But the dean notices his glare and warn him what is he up to. Elmar calms himself down and think of a solution to this new problem. He let Albert go, so he can't stop now. Elmar asks the dean if they can have a talk. This startled the dean. But Elmar reasons that he came to school today to actually start studying and set his mind straight and ask the dean not to spoil it. Elmar also admits that he's mean to others and a rotten bastard. The dean couldn't agree more. Then Elmar further added that if he leave now, his life will go down to the drains. As a teacher you should help the students out, but instead you want me to drop out. This will surely saddens me after going all the way here to study and to set my mind to it. This is the news I get. The dean was shocked at how Elmar was acting even though he still speaks like a thug. He was expecting him to let loose or even worse, but a possibility came to Dean's mind. What if he was able to fix the school problem child? This will surely boost his teaching career. The dean asked if he was sure about spending the time on school properly. Elmer made a promise that if he ever made a misconduct, he can expel him.
The dean agrees and chooses to trust Elmar this once. Elmar assures the dean that he made the right choice. Meanwhile, on the class 2-4, a pair of students were talking about the latest issue of an adult magazine in the middle of the class. Their teacher asked them to settle down, but then suddenly the door opens. It was Elmar. Uncertain if he entered the right room since it's been so long that he visit the school again. Then someone called his name. It was his classmate Don and Ray. Their presence here indicates that he's in the right class. Then the teacher got flabbergasted at what she saw.
While back ago, the teacher was introducing herself as their new homeroom and English teacher. Her name is Miss Anne. Ray was mesmerized by her beauty. Don asked if she has a boyfriend. But Miss Anne dodged the question and told them to start the lesson. Elmer smirks and told Miss Anne that it's just a simple question and assumes that she may never been in a relationship. This startled Miss Anne, but she steeled herself and told him to stop this and start with the lesson. Then suddenly Elmer stands up. This frightens Miss Anne, but Elmer with a smug in his face teases Miss Anne that people might think that he might jump on her. This terrifies Miss Anne.
That was Miss Anne's first encounter with Elmar and it was unpleasant. She wished that he shouldn't have returned to school. Ray teases Miss Anne saying what should she do now. Dawn assumes that she may actually leave the school. But Elmar suddenly hit them in the head and told them off saying, "Where are your manners? Is the teacher your peer or something?" Then Elmar apologized to Miss Anne for being late and would come earlier next time. This shocked Miss Anne and doesn't believe what she saw. Elmar apologizing to her. Elmar then calls out to his seatmate. He calls him bastard and told him to share with him the textbook. This shocked Miss Anne even more, and asked herself that is this still the Elmar she knows. But Elmar face a problem. He didn't understand anything, so he just choose to pretend studying for now. Later after class, Dawn and Ray ask Elmar why he did that. What is he trying to pull? Elmar asked them if they're angry and told them to come at him. They shake their head in denial. Elmar told them that this brother here will try to live a good life, and also told them to remember it from now on since they are on to their own. This confused Dawn and Ray, but Elmar kicked Ray out and told them that they're heading to the store since he's hungry. Ray protests to stop kicking him. Then there's a lady who got issues with Elmar.
Elmer was refreshed by the drink he used to drink in the past. He states that he missed the freshness of the drink for 20 years. This confused Ray and Don and questions Elmer's sanity. Even if Elmer explains it, they wouldn't get it. Then a girl greeted Elmer. She heard a rumor that Elmer came back and she came to check it out if it's true. Then she told Elmer that Senior Luke was requesting for him. Luke. Elmer tries to remember who this Luke guy, while Ray and Don are ogling to the girl. Elmer remembers and decided to meet the guy. Luke called out to Elmer. He greeted him and asked him how he's been doing. Then Elmer recalls Luke. He actually ruled the school, and the past relationship wasn't that bad. Elmer demands him to get to the point. Luke was actually looking for Elmer to offer him a job. Elmer declines immediately while Luke was trying to explain what it is. This pisses Luke off, but Elmer clarifies that he won't work under a druggie like him. This surprises Luke's peers. Unable to believe that he got caught, Luke turned red out of shame. Elmer notices it and chooses to walk away since he already know that he'll become a con artist druggie in the future.
Elmar suggests that Luke should stop and seek medical attention. He also told them to never show their face again. He don't want to be involved with them ever again. This enraged the seniors who's with Luke, and one of them grabs Elmar's shoulder and demands him to stop and show some respect to his seniors. Elmar mumbled to himself, even if you talk to them nicely, they still just won't listen. Elmar suddenly grabbed the arm of the senior and twisted it. This astounded the remaining seniors. Elmar mocks them, saying that they don't even deserve respect. While the senior is screaming from pain, Elmar thought of an idea. Maybe he should just beat Luke off.
Luke threatens Elmer that he's not gonna be safe in school after this. Elmer shut him off. The others were planning to beat him. Then Elmer starts a monologue saying that they thinking of ganging up to him. He then claims that he can't take them all at once, so instead he'll just crush his wrist if they come any closer. While the senior whose wrist is twist screams in pain, the other peers were unable to do anything but curse him. Elmer exclaims that they were the one who invites him them try to put him to harm. Elmer suggests that if they want something fair, how about Luke fight him solo, one-on-one. Then Elmer provokes Luke that he's a pussy, who can't fight his junior. He also mocks him being him the strongest in school is just a joke. He also make a bet that if Luke wins, he'll do anything he wants, but if he win, he'll be the boss of the entire school. One-on-one. The peers doesn't seem to agree with him and suggest they beat him up. Elmer resumes to crush the senior's wrist and ask them is it okay to let their friend wrist be crushed like this. How about it, Luke? Fight me one-on-one like a real man. Luke then had an internal monologue, this bastard is trying to piss me off, one-on-one with this lot of people. No way, I won't fall for that trick, but if I ignore him and went for it. Then Elmer thought to himself, that's it, pick the best choice for the both of us. Luke told Elmer to scram.
This surprises the peer and Elmar was expecting this outcome. Luke proclaimed that only this once he'll let him go. He also asked him to let go of the right hand and get out of his sight. The peer starts to question Luke, but he reasoned that rescuing that guy first is first priority. We'll rid of Elmar later. But a peer seemed to disagree. This pisses off Luke and asks him if he's trying to defy him. The peer back out and denies it. Elmar let go of senior's hand and complain how boring it was. He then demands a senior to get out of his way. Elmar was relieved that his bluff worked out. If he get to a fight after promising he stay out of trouble, it would be bad. Luke knew that Elmar was sneaky, but for him to find out his secret. He then promised to repay Elmar later 10 times for the humiliation he gets.
Edukasyong pisikal na pala ang paksa ngayon, siguro pag bumalik ako sa nakaraan, magsasonai ako para magkaroon ako ng muscles.
That seems to be not what the protagonist had in mind. He then laughed at the girl at his front who's missing the teacher's instructions. Then the others made fun of her, but Elmar recognized her. That scar. Then he remembers, it was her who ended her life at that time. Mary. Later after that Elmar rethink and realize that even if the angel gave him a second chance, Albert and Luke, and then Mary, all the mistake he made before would still remain. Elmar then criticized himself that he lives such a messy life. He then plans to apologize to her on his knees, hoping that he'll be forgiven, but he notices something. She's not around. Elmar saw Ray and his acting suspicious inside the storage room. This made Elmar think that they are thinking of doing something horrible. Elmar kicks the door open and asks them, what do you think you're doing?
Elmer kicks Ray in the stomach, this sends Ray flying and hits the wall. Don asks in panic what is Elmer's doing, but was stopped midway and receive a left hook from Elmer and fell to the floor. Ray asks what is wrong with him while coughing. Then Elmer stomp at him. Ray asks again, what did we do wrong? Then Elmer continues to step on Ray and ask him why do they bully her. Ray didn't answer and this made Elmer enraged. Elmer continues to diss Ray while Mary's watching them. Don tried to stop him, asking him his sanity and why is he being like this. Elmer notices Don and punches him in the abdomen and made Don fell to his knees. Elmer grabs Don and clarify him that he is crazy, and he'll go mad if they don't leave right now. He told them to scram or else he'll lose control and kill them. After that Elmer realized something, that the time that Mary ended her life, is also the time those two got kicked out of school. He smirked as he concluded that it's not his fault and thought that Mary should be thanking him. He later consult Mary if she's okay. But Mary look away in fear. This confuses Elmer and wonders why is she doing that. He also wonders why is she looking to him like that. Did she not see what he did for her? Elmer looked back at their first meeting. It wasn't that very eventful. Mary was picking her pencil case she dropped in the front door. Elmer was in his way to the room but was hindered by Mary. Elmer told her that she was in the way. Mary says her sorry and tells him that he can go ahead. Elmer's first impression of Mary was clumsy. Few moments later Elmer brags on how he punched someone in the cheeks. Don responds in disbelief. Then Elmer notices Mary and asks them what's up with her. Does she have no friends? Don answers that that's Mary, she's an infamous loner since junior high. Elmer wonders why she's a loner. Don doesn't know why, but apparently her face make people down and the way she acts is annoying. Elmer wasn't planning to do anything to her in the start. He just thinks she's an idiot. He then gets annoyed at how dumb and irritating she was. A few moments later, Mary was falling to the ground. She was bullied by Elmer and his peers. He used to do this to kill some time and it became a norm to them. Mary was put onto her knees and she's begging Elmer to stop. Elmer continues to do it anyway. After that Don asked them where they headed to. Ray suggests that they should skip school and hit the arcade while leaving Mary on her knees sobbing. Elma looked at her and insulted her on how pathetic she was. Then Elma realized something. To Mary he's no different from those two, even worse than them. Elma then wonder if this is the reason why the angel dude brought him back. Elma tried to approach her again. She still flinched out of fear, but Elma starts apologizing. The things he had done to her, especially the scar on her arm. This shocked Mary. Elma asked for forgiveness.
After PE, everyone is back to their homeroom. The guys were discussing something while Dawn and Ray are whining from their pain. While Elmar's sitting there confidently as if nothing happens, Ray threatens Elmar that he'll report him to the authority. Elmar give an okay like he didn't care. Elmar points out that reporting him to the police won't solve anything, and this is the reason why they can't do anything to him. Assault from a minor won't end him up in jail and will only end up with a warning. After that is done, imagine what he'll do to him after. This scares Ray. Then suddenly Elmar grabs him by his tie. Elmar threatens Ray that he witnessed what they were doing earlier and who you think will they side on. This made the guys behind Ray curious about what happened during PE. Elmar got furious and demands Ray to answer. This scares Ray and fell on his knees. Then Elmar announces that whoever makes something stupid, he'll exterminate them. The guys agrees in fear. Elmar groaned and took a sit. He noticed that Mary wasn't around and asked his seatmate her whereabouts. The glasses guy says that she went to the nurse office after PE since she doesn't look good. He then asked Elmar if something had happened. Elmar requested him to be quiet. What would he do anyway if he finds out? This worries Elmar. He thought that maybe she won't do something stupid, would she? Later Elmar asked his seat next door to wake him up before class starts, but the glasses guy retorts that the class will start in 2 minutes. Elmar then faces Dawn and Ray and blames them for missing his nap. After that, Miss Ann entered the class to start the remedial class. Elmar asked Glasses to lend him a pen and a paper. He made a list of things he needs to correct. The first one was Mary. He decided that this one is top priority, but he doesn't know how to start. He did prevent her from giving up her life, but everyone still looks down on her. His solution is to stop her from being a loner. Next, as he looks around, he found the second on his list. He knows that the school is a dumpster, but why no one even bothers to listen to the lesson. He regrets teasing Miss Ann on the first day of class because this what it becomes. Third, quitting smoking. Fourth, cease on swearing. Then fifth, his father. Elmar knows that his father is working extra hard somewhere on a construction site. Elmar also needs to control his temper, to graduate, and after that, to find a job. Elmar realized that after writing it up he got a lot of stuff to do.
And the thing he never achieve at all. Out of shame Elmar crumples the paper. This made Glasses curious of what he was doing. He asked Glasses what is looking at. He replies that he's just wondering what is he doing. Bell rings indicates that the class is over. Elmar can't help but stretch his tired body. But Miss Ann asks Elmar to come with her in the office. Elmar asks what it is, but Miss Ann insists that they talk it in the office. Elmar agrees to come to talk to her in the office. After arriving at the office, Miss Ann offered Elmar a seat and was about to explain him the reason why she called him, but Elmar interrupts her first and bows down and asks for forgiveness for what all he have done on the past. This shocked Miss Ann, but became glad of the changes she saw on Elmar. This confuses Elmar and asks for clarification. Miss Ann explains that she thinks that Elmar's changed a lot and requested him a favor. Elmar asks what it is.
Miss Ann noticed that Elmar has a huge build and other students are afraid of him, so she asked her this favor. Elmar can't help but blush from the praises he heard from his teacher. Then Elmar assumes that it's probably to make the students quiet during classes. Miss Ann requested that he help Mary from getting bullied. Mary. Miss Ann explains that Mary told her that Elmar helped her earlier, though she didn't told her what exactly happened. Elmar asked Mary whereabouts. He heard that she went to the nurse office. Miss Ann replied that she sent her home early. She seems to have a hard time. Miss Ann also remarks that she got bullied often. She also recalled that they made counseling with her many times, but she's way too passive, making it difficult for her to take care for herself. Elmar understands what she meant, but he asked Miss Ann if is it okay to leave it in a problematic gangster's hands. Miss Ann couldn't agree more, but she noticed how he wanted to change. This surprises Elmar. Almost all who have saw him acting like this thought that he went nuts. But she noticed the effort he made. As expected from a teacher, they think differently. Elmar was convinced by Miss Anne and assures her that no one will harm Mary anymore. She thanks Elmar in return. But Elmar blurted out that he has a single condition. Condition. Miss Anne nervously asked what is it. Elmar said that it's nothing much, after school maybe. Miss Anne declines because it's in the office. She then starts to misunderstands what Elmar wanted from her. Then Elmar asked her to teach him English. English. This was not Miss Anne was expecting he'd ask. So she clarifies it again if she heard it right. Elmar says yes it's English. He then reasons that he may not take college but knowing English would help him a lot especially going to different places. He also added that he still doesn't know his ABC properly so he requested her to teach him. This made Elmar embarrassed. For a high school student to not know his ABC, Miss Anne must be laughing right now. Miss Anne accepts Elmar's condition although she can't tutor him. She'll give him supplementary class after school. She'll prepare some good materials. Elmar noticed that Miss Anne was happy about him asking her to teach him some English. He just want to learn it so he can have a better life. Now he's feeling a bit bad. Elmar asked if Miss Anne is done with him and took his leave. Miss Anne thanks him and assures him that she'll prepare for the materials. Miss Anne remarks how a problematic student like Elmar asked her to teach him English. Truly he have changed in a good way. This motivates Miss Anne to master English. Then a coworker asks Miss Anne what is she muttering about. Miss Anne says it's nothing.
Later that afternoon, Elmar was heading home. He recalled his first day being quite eventful. His high school life for the first time in 23 years. How will he survive this for 2 years? But Elmar saw some students smiling along the way and realized that it's actually better than what he had in mind. This brings a smile to Elmar's face. Suddenly a familiar face caught Elmar's attention. It was Mary. He wonders why she's still here. Mary was awkwardly and slowly walking, then Elmar caught up to her and complains how slow is her pace of walking. He asks her why is she still here. It's kinda pathetic. The atmosphere became awkward. Elmar remembers that she left school early and asks what is she still doing here. Mary told him that she doesn't want to come home early. Elmar asks why, do you have issues with your mom? Then Elmar shrugs it off and proclaims that starting tomorrow she must not skip class. This bewildered Mary. But Elmar continues that he'll tell her how not to be bullied, and if someone tries to bring her harm, tell him right away. Mary asks why. So suddenly. Elmar answered why the person who used to bully you suddenly do this. Mary corrects herself that that's not what she meant. But Elmar didn't deny it. He also added that a piece of scum like him, who never listen in class and bullies people like her so. Elmar stretched his arm towards Mary. This startles Mary but was not expecting what he'll do. It was a head pat from Elmar. Elmar states his goal that is to live righteously starting today. Mary thanks him awkwardly. To hide his embarrassment he pat her head roughly and complain how annoying she is. She should be angry and not thanking him. That was Elmar was expecting to happen. Mary apologized in return. Elmar shrugs it off and went his way. He heard Mary mumbled something and asked what is it. She says it's nothing. Elmar gets bored and tells her to get home quickly. Mary whispered to herself. Bye, Elmar. Elmar rethinks why Mary is still thankful despite everything. As Elmar walks home, a voice in the background made an observation. The voice sighs and sees that Elmar involved Mary and Miss Anne. The voice wonders what will Elmar do about those kind girls. Suddenly the voice was revealed to be the angel dude. The angel sees that Elmar is trying his best on his own way, but Tiz is nothing more than a scratch in his past mistakes. Angel decided to continue watching him. Elmar wonders if there's food at home. What will happen next?
Will Elmar manage to become a good person?
O kaya mahuhulog siya sa temptasyon na gumawa ng masama.
Thanks for watching.
And leave a like.
Huwag kalimutan mag-subscribe.